Today's tutorial is an introduction to the scoring module. The scoring module can be displayed, can be accessed from the player list, and we use the command from the commands across the top with the scoring command. So let's click on that, and let me drag the scoring module into our display area here, and I'm going to minimize the player list, but just before I do, notice that the players here actually become the players listed here. So I'm going to minimize that so we can focus on the scoring module. Alright, in the scoring module we have our list of players. They are in alphabetical order, and then we have an area to enter the scores for the selected player. Right now Dan Newberry is selected, and here's the area to enter Dan's gross scores. We'll compute the net for you. Dan's an 11 handicap. And you can see that down at the bottom. We're in hole by hole entry mode. Here Dan Newberry is selected. Dan's handicap is 11. He's in the gross skins, net skins, and his status is active. So I can click on another player. So let's say I want to go to Amos' line in order to enter his scores, so I can click. But a better way is that the scoring module allows what we call mouseless score entry. And what that means is you can just leave the mouse alone. You don't have to touch it. We know in the scoring module that if you're typing a letter, that means you're looking for a player, and if you're typing a number, it means you're entering the currently selected player's score. So let's say that the scorecard just came in for Jeff Naylor. So I type in, and I immediately jump to Jeff Naylor because he's the first in. I'm ready to enter Jeff's scores, so let's say he had a 5 on the first hole. Again, not using the mouse, I just type the 5, and it immediately starts to enter Jeff's scores at hole number 1. The scoring module jumped over to hole number 2, is waiting for me to enter the scores for hole number 2, so I'll enter a 4. And let's say Jeff didn't have such a great hole on hole number 3, and he ended up having a 10. So if I type a 1, the system waits for me to type the next number. In this case it'd be a 0 before it moves on to the next hole. So if somebody has a hole in 1, and we could say maybe Jeff had a great bounce back, and he had a hole in 1 on the next hole, so I'd type a 1 and then tap the tab key in order to move to the next hole. Continuing to enter Jeff's scores, I'll just type in representative scores, so now Jeff has all his scores. The next scorecard that I would like to enter is Larry Durham, so I'm going to type a D. And now I'm ready to enter Larry's scores, so I'll just quickly throw in some scores from Larry. And I'm just typing each number once in order to get those scores in. Let's say that the next card that came in was Robert Peters. We'll notice that there's several players: Ray Page, Demian Parks, Mike Peterson, and Robert Peters. So in order to get to him through type-ahead lookup, I type PET, and the system jumps to Robert Peters, ready to enter his scores. So we'll just give him some scores, something like that. So not bad at 68. Let's do one more player, just so that you are sure that you understand how this works. And I'm going to enter John Ingerson's scores. I'll type an I to get to John. He's a +3, so he had some low scores. So he shot gross 69, net 72, and you can see that there. Alright, so that's mouseless score entry. There are other formats that you can select. Right now we have selected the individual format, but you can also select to enter scores via best ball format. And by selecting best ball format, it shows John. So this is John has been selected, and it shows his score, and it shows John's scores as part of the team, and John's partner is Ray Page. And the way teams work is that once you've entered a partner scores, again we're doing mouseless score entry, I can type the enter key, and the system automatically jumps to John's partner, in this case Ray Page. So I'm going to enter Ray's scores, and so there's Ray, and now we've got and the system adjusts and calculates Ray's and John's scores. So for instance, the best score on hole number 1 was a 4, the best gross score on hole number 2 was a 3. If I want to look at the net scores, I'll click on net, And the best net score on hole number 1 was raise 3, which shows here, 3 here, the 4 that shows here, and a 4 here. There must be 1. Okay, here it is. Here's a 3 for John, and that 3 shows up as the net score here. So that's a brief introduction to the scoring module, showing you mouseless score entry and showing you 2 different formats, individual and best ball.